So, I'm probably going to repeat myself a lot because I added audio to my PowerPoint. I just wanted to be able to kind of talk a little bit more about the points that I was making. So I'm sorry if I kind of repeat myself a little bit. My project, I did Rocky Horror Picture Show and went and saw that at the Esquire, and I really was not sure what to expect. I knew that it would be interactive. I knew that there would be a lot of audience participation, but I had really no idea what to expect outside of that. But I was really intrigued by the idea because it's something that was completely different than anything that I had done before. So like I grew up doing like show choir and going to traditional musicals and stuff like that. So this is something that was just so different. And I'm really glad that I got to experience that because it taught me a lot. One of the reasons why I chose Rocky Horror was just the tradition of it, but I didn't know how much of that would stick with me, that theme, throughout like my research and throughout completing this project. At first, before I interviewed Lizzie Burns, who is a cast member, before I interviewed her, my theory was that Rocky Horror was popular because it's interactive, because it's not just performers performing, it's also getting audience members involved. I'm like, well, that's unique and different. That must be why it's popular. But after talking to her, it really seems like it's just this tradition, and I wanted to understand more about that. So, in our music class this semester, we've talked a lot about how there are different cultures, and in these cultures, traditions are passed down, and that's how music passes down, from one generation of a culture to the next generation. And I really saw that to kind of like to be true, even with this, and it's so different than any other musical performance I've ever been to. And I thought a lot about the chapter where we talked about Appalachia and we talked about bluegrass music and how bluegrass kind of originated and started to grow in popularity because of the culture that it was created in. And, Rocky Horror started as this movie in the 70s, and it just kind of turned into this like cult following of people who would return, to see it over and over again, and then all of a sudden just kind of start to participate in it. And what the performance and the experience is, that we know now, it kind of just developed into that. And I just think that's so interesting. And I think that happens a lot with music. Music can start as one thing, and one thing is popular, and then slowly it starts to evolve into something else. And we've talked about that recently in our classes with symphonies and operas and stuff being one thing, and then it would grow, and it would kind of more instruments were added, or more things were done, and this was embellished on, and it's just this art that started to evolve and become something completely new. That really, like, as strange as comparing something that happened with what we know as classical music to Rocky Horror now, I really can see like a connection there. And it is just this evolution of what was once just a movie is now performances that people attend, and cast members sing and dance and shout lines and all kinds of stuff, and that to me is just so unique. I've seen books become movies, or books become musicals, or even I guess some movies become musicals, but I've never seen it like this before, where it's almost like the audience just has its own culture. And I just think that's incredible. We also talked this semester about how songs and music were used to further social justice or, economic injustice, to stand up against, all of these things, and to kind of just take a stance, whether it be taking a stance against war or, making a movement for, something else. Like, people believe in something and then they create music as a way to give themselves a voice. And what was interesting to me about Rocky Horror was that it was created during a time where, there weren't any transgender or gay rights, and there wasn't really a place for people to go and express that part of themselves. Like, they had to keep it contained. And when these performances started catching on, it gave people an opportunity to go to the show, be in the audience, but be who they were. So, like, men would go and they would cross-dress, and, people felt comfortable being, flamboyant, or girls felt comfortable dressing, provocatively. They embraced this part of themselves that they were told, was against social norms and what would be socially acceptable. And I just think that it's a really cool thing that, music and this musical performance created an environment for people to be themselves. So I don't know, like, I walked away from this experience, and then, my interview, Lizzie really got me thinking a lot about these things. And it just kind of blows my mind. Like, I have a new appreciation for what I thought was just, a funny and weird kind of cult following, movie, is really this community where people feel like they can be themselves. And it's cool to see music used in that way. And I think the tradition of it, and just the word of mouth, and, people knowing that it's going to be something that puts them outside their comfort zone and something that's going to be a little bit different. I just think that's awesome. It gives people an opportunity to break out of what society tells them they should be. And for me, like, music can be used for that, and it's a pretty awesome thing. So that's what I got out of this experience. I'm glad that I chose something that, like, I was almost afraid of, because it was just so crazy different than anything that I had ever experienced. I got a lot out of it. So thank you.